The large room was silent as Ambassador Taewon Kim walked to the center. The curved walls rose high above him, filled with seats where hundreds of alien beings sat watching. This was the Galactic Council Chamber, where the most powerful races in the galaxy made decisions that affected trillions of lives across thousands of worlds. Taewon stood straight, though he felt small. He was just one human in a room full of aliens who had traveled the stars for thousands of years before humans had even left their own planet. "The Council recognizes Earth's representative," said the Council leader, a tall blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. "You may speak." Taewon looked around the room. Most of the aliens watched him with bored eyes. Some whispered to each other. They had allowed Earth to join the Council only after 50 years of asking. Even now, many thought humans were too primitive to have a real voice here. "Thank you," Taewon said, his voice clear and strong. "I bring an important message from Earth." A few aliens sat up straighter, but most continued to look bored. "For the past 100 years you have watched Earth. You have traded with us. You have studied us. But you have never truly understood us. Now more aliens were paying attention. You see us as young and weak. You think because we have only recently reached the stars, we must be simple. This is a mistake." Taewon paused. "Earth has been holding back." A low murmur spread through the chamber. "Humans have spent their entire history fighting each other. While you were exploring space, we were perfecting the art of war against enemies who think exactly like we do. We have learned to be careful with our power. But make no mistake, that power exists." The murmurs grew louder. Some aliens were laughing now. "Earth wishes for peace," Taewon continued. "We joined this council hoping to be partners, but we are prepared for war in ways you cannot imagine. I ask you to remember this." Grand Marshal Kuvex, leader of the powerful Vorn Empire, stood up. His gray skin was rough like stone, and his yellow eyes narrowed as he looked at Taewon. "Is this a threat?" Kuvex asked, his deep voice echoing through the chamber. "No," Taewon replied calmly. "It is a warning. We hope it will never be needed." Kuvex laughed, a harsh sound that made Taewon's skin crawl. "I have conquered 32 systems, my fleets number in the thousands, and you, a species that barely controls its own solar system, dare to warn me?" Many aliens joined in Kuvex's laughter. Taewon did not smile. "We do not wish to demonstrate our strength, but we will, if forced." "Enough," said the council leader. "This meeting is about trade routes, not war talks. Ambassador, please take your seat." Taewon bowed slightly and returned to his place. He knew his words had fallen on deaf ears, but he had done his duty. The message had been delivered. Later, that day, Taewon sat in his small office on the space station that orbited the council's world. His assistant, Minho, entered with a worried look. "The Vorn representatives have left the station," Minho said. "All of them, suddenly. Their ships are heading toward their territory at full speed." Taewon frowned. "That's not a good sign. Send a message to Earth. Code Red." Minho's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "Yes. The Vorn see our warning as weakness. Kuvex is a warrior. He respects only power. I believe he's going to attack." As Minho hurried to send the message, Taewon looked out at the stars. He had hoped for peace, but he had prepared for war. Now it seemed war was coming. On Earth, General Hanjun Park sat in a deep underground room, surrounded by screens showing maps of space. When the code red message arrived, he was not surprised. "So they didn't listen," he said to the room full of military officers. "Activate the black projects, all of them." An officer named Sung Min looked up. "Sir, some of these systems have never been tested in real combat." "Then this will be their test," Hanjun replied. "The Vorn will not wait, and neither will we." He turned to a large screen showing Earth's solar system. "Deploy the hidden fleets, activate the jump gates, and prepare the special weapons." The room burst into activity as officers rushed to carry out his orders. Hanjun walked to another screen, where a woman with short gray hair waited. "President Do-yeon," he said with a bow. The Vorn are coming. We need your final approval to deploy everything. President Do-Yan looked tired. She had hoped, like all humans, that the galaxy would accept Earth peacefully. But she had also approved the secret military programs that had been running for decades. How long do we have? She asked. At their best speed, the Vorn fleet will reach our system in 3 weeks. The president nodded slowly. And our chances? Han Jun stood straight. They think they're facing a few hundred outdated ships. They don't know about the 5,000 hidden vessels. They don't know about our new weapons. They don't know that we've been building for this day since we first met aliens and realized how dangerous the galaxy truly is. And if we lose, then humanity ends, Han Jun said simply. But we won't lose. President Do-Yan closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were hard with determination. You have my approval, General. Show them what humanity can do when we stop holding back. On the edge of Earth's solar system, Captain Jimin Lee sat in the command chair of her ship, the UES Defiant. To any observer, the Defiant looked like a standard Earth warship, somewhat outdated, with visible weapons that the Vorn would consider primitive. But Jimin knew better. Under the outer hull was a second hull made of materials not even Earth's scientists fully understood, discovered in ancient ruins on Mars. The weapons visible to scanners were decoys. The real weapons were hidden inside, along with engines that could move faster than any alien ship. Captain, her first officer said, we've received orders. The Vorn are coming. Protocol Lazarus is active. Jimin nodded. Protocol Lazarus, named after the biblical figure who rose from the dead, was the code for revealing Earth's true military power. Send to all ships in the fleet, she ordered. Prepare for Protocol Lazarus. When the Vorn arrive, we show them what we've been hiding all these years. As her crew prepared, Jimin looked at the stars where the Vorn would soon appear. They thought humans were weak because humans had shown them only weakness. It was an old trick, one that Earth's military leaders had used against each other for thousands of years. Let them come, she whispered. Let them see what happens when Earth goes to war. In the darkness of space, the first sensors detected the Vorn fleet entering the outer solar system. The war that would change the galaxy forever had begun. The Vorn fleet moved through space like a dark cloud. Over 3,000 warships, each one bigger than the largest Earth ship. Their gray hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight as they passed the orbit of Neptune. In the command ship, Grand Marshal Kuvek stood tall looking at the screen that showed Earth's small defense fleet. Only 200 ships waited at the edge of the asteroid belt. It would be an easy victory. Pitiful, Kuvek said to his officers. The humans think these few ships can stop us. Admiral Rek, his second-in-command, nodded. Our scans show their weapons are simple. Their shields are weak. They warned us they were holding back, said a younger officer named Telk. What if what? Kuvex turned his yellow eyes on Telk. You believe their empty words? We have watched them for 100 years. We know exactly what they can do. Telk lowered his head. Yes, Grand Marshal. Kuvex turned back to the screen. Send the first attack group. 500 ships should be enough to destroy their entire fleet. The rest will follow and take Earth. Captain Jimin Lee watched as the Vorn ships approached. She sat calm in her chair on the bridge of the UES Defiant. 500 enemy ships moving toward us, said her sensor officer. They'll be in range in 10 minutes. Jimin nodded. Send to all ships. Hold position. Wait for my signal to activate Protocol Lazarus. Her first officer, Dae-sung, stood beside her chair. The Vorn think this will be easy, he said quietly. Good, Jimin replied. Surprise is our best weapon. The minutes passed slowly. On the screen, the Vorn ships grew larger. They moved into a wide attack formation, spreading out to surround Earth's smaller fleet. They're launching fighters, the sensor officer reported. Jimin watched as hundreds of small ships poured from the Vorn vessels. The fighters were fast, designed to overwhelm Earth's defenses. Enemy weapons powering up, another officer called out. They're preparing to fire. Jimin took a deep breath. All ships, activate Protocol Lazarus, now. On every Earth ship hidden, systems came to life. Panels slid open on the hulls, revealing weapons that had never been seen by alien eyes. Engines that had been running at low power suddenly flared with new energy. Shields that had appeared weak now glowed with intense power. The transformation took only seconds. Where there had been 200 outdated ships, now stood 200 warships with technology far beyond what the Vorn had expected. And then, from hiding places throughout the asteroid belt, more Earthships appeared. 500, 1,000, 2,000. They had been hidden using technology reverse-engineered from an ancient alien wreck found on Pluto's moon. But the greatest surprise was yet to come. On the Vorn command ship, Grand Marshal Kuvex stared at the screen in shock. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Where did these ships come from?" Admiral Rex's hands moved quickly over the control panel. "The readings are changing. Their weapons. Their shields. This is impossible." "Explain," Kuvex roared. "They've been hiding their true capabilities," Rex said, his voice shaking. "The human ships are now showing power levels higher than our own." Before Kuvex could respond, the human fleet moved. But they didn't move like any ships the Vorn had seen before. They moved too fast, changing direction instantly without slowing down. "They've broken the laws of motion," Rek whispered. "How can they move like that?" On the Defiant, Jimin gave her orders calmly. "Attack Pattern Alpha. Target their command ships first." The Earth fleet moved as one, spinning and diving between the surprised Vorn ships. Earth's hidden weapons fired. For the first time in real combat, beams of blue light cut through Vorn shields as if they weren't there. Missiles that could change direction mid-flight chased down enemy ships trying to escape. "Their shields are failing," Daesung reported. "They didn't expect our weapons to be so powerful." Jimin nodded. "Continue the attack. Show no mercy." The space around them lit up with explosions as Vorn ships died by the dozen. The fighters that had been launched found themselves hunted by smaller Earth ships that appeared from nowhere, using stealth technology that made them nearly invisible until they attacked. In his command ship, Kuvex watched in horror as his attack force was torn apart. In just 15 minutes, he had lost over 100 ships. Nothing was working as it should. The humans knew exactly where to hit the Vorn ships to cause the most damage. "How do they know our weak points?" he demanded. "Our shield designs are secret." Admiral Rek looked up from his console, his face grim. "We've been infiltrated. Someone gave them our technical data." Kuvex slammed his fist down. "Impossible. No spy could—" A massive explosion rocked the ship. Alarms blared throughout the command deck. "Direct hit to our main power core," an officer shouted. "How did they target it so precisely? The core location is different on every ship." "Order all ships to retreat," Kuvex said, finally understanding that he had made a terrible mistake. "Fall back and regroup." But retreat was not easy. The human ships were faster, their weapons had longer range, and they seemed to know exactly what the Vorn would do before they did it. On Earth, General Han-Jun Park watched the battle from his command center deep underground. Beside him, other military leaders observed with satisfaction. "The intelligence we gathered was accurate," said General Yoon, the head of Earth's spy network. "Our agents on their world sent us everything we needed." Han-Jun nodded. "And our technology works better than we hoped." An officer approached, with a tablet. "General, Captain Jimin is requesting permission to pursue the retreating Vorn ships." Han-Jun thought for a moment. "No, let them run. Let them tell the others what happened here." He turned to the large screen showing the battle. Already the surviving Vorn ships were turning away, fleeing back toward the outer system. "Send a message to Ambassador Taewon," he ordered. "Tell him Phase 1 is complete. The Vorn attacked and they failed." The officer nodded and left to send the message. "What now?" asked General Yoon. Han-Jun's face was grim. "Now we prepare for Phase 2. The Vorn will return with a larger fleet, and the other alien powers may join them. Are we ready for that?" Han-Jun smiled slightly. What they saw today was only a fraction of what we can do. Far away in the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador Taewon received the message during an emergency meeting. The news of the Vorn defeat had spread quickly. The council leader spoke with concern. The Vorn report that Earth used illegal weapons and hidden technology. Is this true? Taiwan stood calmly. I warned you all. I said Earth was holding back. The Vorn attacked us without provocation. We defended ourselves. With technology you kept secret from the council, shouted a representative from a Vorn ally. Yes, Taiwan said simply. Just as you all keep secrets. The difference is our secrets saved us. He looked around the chamber at the shocked faces of the alien representatives. I bring a new message from Earth, he continued. The Vorn attacked us and they failed. Anyone who joins them will share their fate. But we still hope for peace. The room was silent as the council members realized that everything they thought they knew about humans had been wrong. And somewhere in deep space, the remains of the Vorn attack fleet limped home, carrying a warning that no one would ignore again. Earth was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. 1 week after the battle at the asteroid belt, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. News of the Vorn defeat had spread quickly through the galaxy. Many alien races were shocked. Some were afraid. Ambassador Tae-won Kim walked into the council chamber with his head high. This time all eyes watched him carefully. There was no boredom now, no whispers, just silence and fear. The council leader spoke first. Ambassador, the council demands to know how Earth hid such powerful technology from us. Tae-won stood in the center of the room just as he had before, but now he felt taller. We hid nothing, he said. You never asked. You assumed we were primitive because we had only recently reached the stars. That was your mistake. A representative from a world allied with the Vorn stood up. The Vorn report that your weapons broke galactic laws of war. Is this true? No, Tae-won replied. Our weapons are advanced, but they follow all laws. The Vorn are simply not used to losing. The council leader leaned forward. What does Earth want now? Peace, Tae-won said. That is what we have always wanted. But the Vorn chose war. He took a small device from his pocket and placed it on the floor. A hologram appeared, showing the solar system and the space around it. The Vorn are gathering a larger fleet, Tae-won continued. They have called for help from their allies. They plan to attack again. The hologram showed thousands of ships moving toward Earth's solar system. And what will Earth do? The council leader asked. Tae-won's face was grim. We will no longer wait for them to come to us. In a hidden base beneath Earth's Pacific Ocean, Director Suho Kang of Earth Intelligence stood before a room of special agents. These were not normal spies. Each had been altered with advanced technology, making them look exactly like different alien species. For 30 years you have lived among them, Suho said. You have learned their languages, their cultures, their secrets. Today, you will use that knowledge. He touched a screen, showing a map of Vorn space and their allies' territories. Exactly 0600 tomorrow, each of you will activate your assigned targets. Power stations, defense systems, communication networks, everything we have prepared. A female agent raised her hand. Sir, some of these targets are on civilian worlds. No, harm will come to civilians, Suho assured her. We are targeting only military installations. This is about stopping their war machine, not hurting innocent people. He looked around the room at his agents. Earth did not start this war, but we will finish it. On the Vorn homeworld, Grand Marshal Kuvex stood before the High Command. His defeat had shamed him, but he was still their military leader. The humans caught us by surprise, he told the gathered leaders. They had hidden ships and weapons we did not know about, but now we know what we face. He showed them images of Earth ships from the battle. We have analyzed their technology. We have prepared new shields that can resist their weapons, and we have gathered a fleet 5 times larger than before. An older Vorn commander named Larak spoke up. What if they have more surprises waiting? Impossible, Kuvex said firmly. We have seen their best weapons now, and with our allies joining us, we will overwhelm them with numbers. Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the command center. Lights flickered. Screens went dark. "What's happening?" Kuvex demanded. A junior officer ran into the room. "Sir, we're under attack. Somehow the humans are already here." Across Vorn space and the territories of their allies, chaos erupted at the same moment. Power stations shut down. Defense systems turned against their own ships. Communication networks broadcast Earth's message. "We warned you once. This is your final warning." On hundreds of worlds, hidden devices that had been planted years ago by Earth's disguised agents activated at once. They did not destroy, they disrupted. They did not kill, they disabled. And in the space between stars where no ships were thought to travel, jump points suddenly opened. These were wormholes, technology that the Galactic Council believed humans were decades from mastering. Through these points came Earth's hidden fleets, thousands of ships that had never been seen before. In orbit around Earth, Captain Jimin Lee stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, now upgraded with even more advanced systems. "All jump points are stable," her officer reported. "Our fleets are emerging in Vorn space as planned." Jimin nodded. "Begin Phase 3. Throughout human space, massive cannons that had been hidden in asteroids and moons revealed themselves. They were not planet killers. Earth had refused to build such terrible weapons. Instead, they were precision instruments, able to hit military targets from light years away without harming civilian areas. The first shots fired from these cannons streaked across space, passing through the jump points. Their targets were the three main military worlds of the Vorn Empire, planets devoted entirely to war. In the Galactic Council chamber, a Vorn representative burst in during Taewan's speech. "They're attacking everywhere at once," he shouted, his gray face pale with fear. "How is this possible?" Taewan turned to the council. "As I was saying, Earth will no longer wait. Our counterattack has begun." The council leader rose from his seat. "You planned this all along." "No," Taewan replied. "We planned for the possibility. There's a difference. We hoped for peace, but prepared for war." A large screen in the chamber lit up, showing live images from across Vorn space. Earth ships emerging from jump points, Vorn defenses failing, the precision strikes against military worlds. "This is what Earth has been holding back," Taewan said quietly. "Not just weapons and ships, but strategy, planning, patience." The Council watched in silence as the Vorn military, the most feared force in the galaxy for 1,000 years, crumbled in a single day. "How many will die?" the council leader asked. "Very few," Taewan answered. "Our weapons target systems, not people. We disable, not destroy. Unlike the Vorn, we do not seek extermination." He looked around at the stunned faces of the council members. "Earth wants 3 things," he continued. "First, the immediate surrender of the Vorn and any who fought with them. Second, guarantees that no one will attack Earth or human colonies again. Third, a new council that treats all species as equals, not just the old powers." "And if these demands are not met?" asked a representative from a neutral world. Taewan's face was serious. "Then what you see now is only the beginning." On his flagship, now hiding in the outer reaches of Vorn territory, Grand Marshal Kuvex watched as his empire fell apart. Reports came in from every sector. Earth forces were everywhere, their attacks precise and overwhelming. How did they get past our defenses? He asked no one in particular. How did they know exactly where to strike? Admiral Rek, who had survived the first battle, stood nearby. "They've been among us for years," he said quietly. "They must have had spies everywhere." Kuvex turned to his last loyal commanders. "We must strike back. We still have ships. We still have weapons." "Sir," one commander said hesitantly, "perhaps we should consider their terms." "Surrender?" Kuvex roared. "Never. The Vorn do not surrender." As he spoke, the lights on his ship flickered. The engines went silent. On every screen, the same message appeared. "We know where you are, Kuvex. Surrender now." For the first time in his life, the great Vorn warrior felt true fear. The humans hadn't just been one step ahead. They had been playing an entirely different game all along. 2 weeks after Earth's counterattack began, most of the Vorn military had surrendered. Their ships were disabled. Their bases were under human control. Their leaders were captured or in hiding, but Grand Marshal Kuvex had escaped. With a small group of loyal followers, he had fled to the edge of known space. There, in a hidden base on a dead moon, he met with representatives from 5 other species who feared Earth's new power. "The humans must be stopped," Kuvex told the gathered aliens. "If they can defeat the Vorn so easily, none of you are safe." A tall, thin alien with purple skin spoke up. "But how? Their technology is beyond ours. Their strategy is perfect. They seem to know our every move before we make it." Kuvex smiled for the first time since his defeat. "We still have one option they won't expect." He pressed a button and a hologram appeared showing a small, round object. "This is Project Omega," he said. "A biological weapon designed specifically to target humans. It attacks their DNA and nothing else." The alien representatives looked at each other nervously. "Biological? Weapons are forbidden by the Council," said one. "The Council is weak," Kuvex replied. "The humans have changed everything. We must adapt or die." After a long silence, the representatives nodded one by one. They would support Project Omega. It was their only hope. On Earth, in a large laboratory, under a mountain, Dr. Yoonji Yoon studied strange data on her screen. As Earth's leading expert on alien biology, she had been monitoring communications from across the galaxy since the war began. "Something is wrong," she told her team. "I'm detecting unusual biological research activity on several worlds." Her assistant, Jinho, looked over her shoulder at the data. "What kind of research?" "I'm not sure yet," Yoonji said, frowning. "But it involves human DNA samples, and the work is being done in secret labs with high security." She turned to Jinho with a serious face. "I need to speak to General Hanjun right away. I think the Vorn are planning something terrible." In the Earth Defense Headquarters, General Hanjun Park listened carefully as Dr. Yoonji explained her concerns. "You think they're making a biological weapon against humans?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. "The data suggests they're trying to create a virus that only affects human biology. If they succeed and release it, billions could die." Hanjun's face darkened. "Where is this research happening?" "We've identified 6 facilities on different worlds. The main one appears to be on Vorn Prime in an underground lab." Hanjun turned to his comm officer. "Get me Commander Jae-sung Choi, immediately." Within minutes, a hologram of a fit, middle-aged man in a black uniform appeared. "General," Jae-sung said with a salute, "how can Special Forces assist?" "We have a critical mission," Hanjun explained. "The Vorn are developing a bioweapon against humanity. You need to infiltrate their main lab on Vorn Prime, gather information on the weapon, and destroy the facility." Jae-sung nodded, his face serious. "When do we leave?" "Now," Hanjun replied. "Every minute counts." Commander Jae-sung Choi stood in a dropship with his team of 12 Special Forces soldiers. They were not ordinary humans. Each had been enhanced with advanced cybernetic technology that had been kept secret even from most of Earth's military. "Our mission is clear," he told them as they approached Vorn Prime. "Get in, gather data on the bioweapon, destroy the lab, and get out." A female soldier named Yuna checked her weapons. "How do we get past their defenses? The planet must be heavily guarded." Jae-sung smiled slightly. "We don't go through their defenses. We go under them." He showed them a hologram of the planet. "Earth has had tunneling drones on Vorn Prime for 20 years. They've created a network of small passages beneath the main cities. We'll use those to reach the lab." The team nodded. They had trained for missions like this for years, but this was their first real operation. "Remember," Jae-sung said as they prepared for the drop, "we need samples of the bioweapon for Dr. Yoonji to study. Without those, Earth can't develop defenses against it." The dropship entered the planet's atmosphere using stealth technology that made it invisible to Vorn sensors. It landed in a remote area far from any city. As soon as they touched down, the team moved out. They found the hidden entrance to the tunnel system and disappeared underground. Dr. Yunji couldn't sleep. She paced in her lab, waiting for news from Jae-sung's team. If the Vorn succeeded in creating and releasing their bioweapon, all of Earth's military victories would mean nothing. Her comm unit beeped. It was General Han-jun. The team has reached the edge of the lab complex, he told her. They'll be going in soon. Yunji nodded. I've prepared everything to analyze the samples as soon as they return. We'll need to work fast to develop a defense. Let's hope they find something useful, Han-jun said. And let's hope they all make it back. Inside the tunnel system beneath Vorn Prime, Jae-sung led his team toward the secret lab. Their enhanced vision allowed them to see in the darkness, and their cyber implants gave them perfect knowledge of the tunnel layout. 500 meters ahead, he whispered. Heat signatures indicate at least 30 Vorn scientists in the facility. The team moved silently through the narrow passages. Years of training made them quiet as shadows despite their enhanced strength and cybernetic parts. When they reached the wall separating them from the lab, Jae-sung used a special device to see through the solid rock. The main lab is directly on the other side, he told his team. The bioweapon appears to be in the center chamber. He placed small explosive charges on the wall, designed to break through without making much noise. The team readied their weapons. On Dwight, my mark, Jae-sung said quietly. 3, 2, 1. The charges exploded with a muffled thump, creating a hole large enough for them to pass through. Immediately, they rushed into the lab, surprising the Vorn scientists who had never expected an attack from below. Secure the room, Jae-sung ordered. Yuna, get those samples. Min-woo, plant the explosives. The team moved with incredible speed and precision. Their enhanced bodies allowed them to move faster than the Vorn could react. Within minutes, they had control of the entire facility. Jae-sung approached the central chamber where the bioweapon was stored. Through a glass wall, he could see vials of a glowing blue liquid. Is that it? He asked a captured Vorn scientist. The alien nodded fearfully. Project Omega. It's designed to target human DNA only. How far along is it? Jae-sung demanded. Almost. Complete, the scientist admitted. We were preparing to test it tomorrow. Jae-sung turned to Yuna. Get samples of everything and download their research data. As Yuna collected the samples, an alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. Commander, shouted one of his soldiers. We have incoming. A transport ship just landed outside with Vorn troops. Jae-sung made a quick decision. Change of plans. Min-woo, are the explosives ready? Yes, sir, Min-woo replied. Set to detonate on your command. Good. Everyone, we're leaving, now. He turned to the Vorn scientist. Your people should evacuate too. We're destroying this place, but we don't want to kill anyone if we can avoid it. The team retreated back through the hole they had made, taking samples of the bioweapon and the research data with them. As they ran through the tunnels, they could hear Vorn troops entering the lab behind them. Detonate the explosives, Jae-sung ordered when they were safe distance away. The ground shook as the lab exploded, collapsing in on itself. The bioweapon facility was destroyed, but the team still had to escape the planet with their vital samples. Base, this is Viper Leader, Jae-sung said into his comm. Mission accomplished. We have the samples and are heading to extraction point. But their mission wasn't over yet. Somehow, the Vorn had discovered their escape route. As the team reached the halfway point to their extraction site, they encountered a squad of Vorn soldiers waiting for them. They've cut us off, Yuna said, checking her scanner. And I'm detecting more troops converging on our position. Jae-sung looked at the samples they had collected, humanity's best hope against the bioweapon. New plan, he said. We split up. Yuna, you and Min-woo take the samples and the data. The rest of us will create a diversion. But sir, Yuna began. That's an order, Jae-sung said firmly. The samples must reach Earth. Nothing else matters. As Yuna and Min-woo took a different tunnel with their precious cargo, Jae-sung led the rest of the team toward the Vorn soldiers. They would fight to give their comrades time to escape. The war had entered a new and dangerous phase. 3 months after the raid on Vorn Prime, representatives from every major power in the galaxy gathered on a neutral space station. The station orbited a dead star, far from any inhabited world. It was here that the new peace treaty would be signed. President Minho Park of Earth sat at the head of the large round table. He was an older man with calm eyes and gray hair. Beside him stood Ambassador Tai-Wan, who had first delivered Earth's warning to the Galactic Council. Across from them sat the new leaders of the Vorn Empire. Grand Marshal Kuvex was gone, captured during a failed attack on an Earth outpost. The Vorn now followed a more moderate leader named Salax, who understood that the old ways of conquest had to end. Today we write a new chapter in galactic history, President Minho said to the gathered aliens. The war is over. Now we must build a lasting peace. He placed a document on the table, the Treaty of New Terra. It had taken weeks to negotiate, its terms with Earth's representatives showing unexpected mercy toward their defeated enemies. Earth could demand your unconditional surrender, Minho continued. We could take your worlds as the Vorn have done to others for centuries. Instead, we offer a new agreement between equals. The alien leaders leaned forward to hear Earth's terms. First, Earth and all human colonies will be recognized as sovereign territory. No foreign ships may enter our space without permission. The aliens nodded. This was expected. Second, a buffer zone will be established around human territory. This zone will be patrolled by Earth ships only, to prevent future misunderstandings. Again, the aliens agreed. After seeing Earth's military power, none wished to challenge this demand. Third, and most important, no race shall conquer another. The time of empires built through force must end. At this, some of the alien leaders shifted uncomfortably. For many, conquest had been a way of life for thousands of years. Those who break this peace will answer to Earth, Minho said, his voice firm, but not threatening. We do not seek to rule the galaxy, but we will not allow others to do so through violence. One by one, the representatives signed the treaty. As the Vorn leader Salax signed, he looked up at Minho. Why show such mercy? He asked quietly. You could have destroyed us completely. Minho smiled slightly. Because Earth remembers what it means to be weak. We were once divided, fighting each other. We know the cost of war better than anyone. The signing ceremony ended, and a new era began. Reporters from across the galaxy called it Pax Humana, peace enforced by human power. In her laboratory on Earth, Dr. Yoon studied the samples of the Vorn bioweapon that Commander Jae-sung's team had recovered. Thanks to those samples, she had developed a defense against the weapon. Now all humans were protected. Her computer beeped with an incoming message. It was from a hospital ship orbiting Vorn Prime. Dr. Yoon, said a tired-looking medical officer. Commander Jae-sung is awake. He's asking to speak with you. Yoon felt relief wash over her. Jae-sung and half his team had been captured during their mission. When Earth forces finally rescued them 2 weeks ago, they had been badly hurt. Some had feared the commander would not survive. Put him through, she said eagerly. Jae-sung's face appeared on the screen. He looked thin and pale, but his eyes were alert, Doctor, he said with a weak smile. I hear you made good use of our samples. We did, she replied. Thanks to you and your team, Earth is safe from the bioweapon. No human will die from Project Omega. Jae-sung nodded, then asked the question that had been on his mind since waking up. Did Yuna and Minwoo make it back with the data? Yes, they did, Yoonji assured him. They completed the mission perfectly. You would be proud. Jae-sung closed his eyes briefly, relief clear on his face. When can I come home? Soon, she promised. Your cybernetic systems are still healing. Another week, perhaps. After ending the call, Yoonji turned back to her work. The Vorn bioweapon had revealed weaknesses in human biology that she was now studying. Thanks to this knowledge, she was developing new ways to make humans stronger and more resistant to disease. Even in defeat, The Vorn had unknowingly helped humanity advance. Ambassador Taiwan Kim sat in a small meeting room with representatives from the smaller, peaceful races that had stayed neutral during the war. These were species that had always lived in fear of the larger powers like the Vorn. Earth remembers its friends, Taiwan told them. Those who did not join our enemies will find humans eager to trade and share knowledge. A small, bird-like alien named Leary spoke up. But can we trust that humans will not become like the Vorn? Power often corrupts, as our history shows, Taiwan nodded. A fair question. Let me show you something. He activated a screen on the wall showing a live feed from Earth. It showed ordinary humans going about their daily lives, working, playing, learning. We fight when we must, Taiwan explained. But this is what we fight for: peace, family, growth. Unlike the Vorn, we do not live for war. We simply became good at it because we had to. He turned off the screen. Judge us by our actions. We have defeated our enemies but not destroyed them. We have established peace without taking territory. And we have shared medical knowledge that could have been kept secret. The alien representatives looked at each other, then back at Taiwan. Perhaps, said Leary, humans are indeed different. High above Earth, General Han Jun Park stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest space station. Through the large windows, he could see hundreds of ships being built in orbital dry docks. Beautiful, isn't it? Asked a voice behind him. Han Jun turned to see Captain Jimin Lee, recently promoted to admiral after her success in the war. Beautiful but necessary, Han Jun replied. Peace must be protected. Jimin joined him at the window. The new ships have all the latest technology. No more hiding what we can do. Not all of it, Han Jun said with a small smile. We should always keep some surprises in reserve, just in case. They watched in silence as workers moved around the massive new vessels. These were not just warships. Many were designed for exploration to take humans deeper into the galaxy than they had ever gone before. What do you think we'll find out? There? Jimin asked. New friends, I hope, Han Jun replied. But if we find new enemies... He left the sentence unfinished. Jimin nodded in understanding. Humanity had learned its lesson. They would always hope for peace, but they would never again be unprepared for war. On a distant world in a simple building surrounded by gardens, Grand Marshal Kuvek sat alone in a comfortable room. It was not a prison exactly, but he could not leave. Earth had decided that keeping him isolated was better than making him a martyr. A human guard brought him a message pad. On it was news from across the galaxy. The Vorn Empire was changing, becoming more peaceful under its new leadership. Other races were following Earth's example, focusing on growth rather than conquest. Kuvex placed the pad on a table and walked to the window. Outside, he could see human children playing with young Vorn in the garden. They were learning each other's games, finding ways to play together despite their differences. Perhaps, the old warrior said quietly to himself, we were wrong about humans all along. In just 1 year, the galaxy had changed more than it had in the previous 1,000. The old powers had fallen, new alliances were forming, and at the center of it all stood humanity, a species that had spent its history fighting itself, only to discover that this had prepared them to lead others to peace. The era of Pax Humana had truly begun.